What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Rundown Show. Joe, I'll tell you what, man. What a crazy couple days.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna have a quiet weekend. I knew something was gonna happen. I didn't. When did it happen? Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday was whenever Trump made the announcement with the strategic reserve. We're gonna jump in and talk about now. But Joe and I were talking yesterday, and he was like, "Hey, I was just hanging around on the weekends, waiting for the news bomb because every time we do a rundown show, we have our eyes and ears all over the news." And there's always some crazy piece of news that we're like, all right, scrap everything we've prepared over the weekend and last week because we're revamping it. And that's exactly what happened. And I'm going to jump right into it. I'm going to share my screen once I get myself oriented here. But a crazy little weekend, if you ask me. And here we go. Let's share and show what I am talking about. Trump sends crypto prices on short-term surge as the announcement of a strategic government reserve. So he announced a strategic government reserve, but that included things other than Bitcoin. It included Bitcoin and Ethereum, of course, Cardano, Solana, XRP for the Ripple army, just a wild group of cryptos that were set up there. Really interesting news there. And it sent the markets up north. We saw Bitcoin get up to 92, 93, maybe $94,000. But within about 24 hours, we came crashing back down to this crappy low 80s range. So, of course, we get some very bullish news coming out of the administration. Looks like they're still evaluating a strategic reserve. They're talking about adding other crypto assets into this strategic reserve. But the party got rained on with sellers continuously buying and dumping on us. But there is some other reasons to be very bullish here. There was an announcement. Joe, when was this announcement? Was this over the weekend as well, or was this late last week? I think it was over the
I
weekend.
think it was Friday. I think it was Friday or a little bit earlier. You
Yeah,
mentioned this actually earlier.
yeah. So this is the White House is going to host its first crypto summit, which is really interesting news as well. And kind of break that down for everyone and why I think this is so bullish. This isn't a financial summit where we're going to talk about stocks, bonds, cash, precious metals. This is crypto only being held at the White House. This is this upcoming Friday. And I would imagine they're not going to come out and say bad things about the cryptocurrency sector. Now, we are bleeding and we're going the wrong direction with all this bullish news. Joe, make some sense here. Talk me through this. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm sure your private chats or group chats were rumbling as was mine. There's always something to talk about, which I guess is great because I knew something was going to happen. I just didn't want this to happen. Like, I mean, it was great. We were like, oh, yeah, it's happening. And then Monday rolls around. We're like, oh, no, this is not news because we had a God candle, right, Brian? That was up. What was it? Like the biggest candle since whatever date, followed
I
by
think
like the
I think it was the
worst.
big I think it was the biggest Bitcoin candle ever, to be honest with you. I think it was the biggest Bitcoin candle ever. One candle. But maybe double check that. Sorry for cutting you
And,
off.
and followed by the what? The biggest dip ever, or in how many
The,
years?
the second worst crypto day ever would be today. So we had this God candle yesterday. Everyone's like, we hit the bottom. We reversed the cycle. We're up only now to just come into what Tuesdays today when we're recording this to have one of the worst crypto days of all time, the second worst crypto day of all time. But fundamental, I'm still a bull. This feels like mid-cycle corrections to me. Now, there's a whole bunch of reasons why this is going on, in my opinion. I want you to chime in here as well, Joe. Is we got this Ukraine, Russia, United States talk back and forth, Zelensky and Trump, just memes are being created left and right. Markets don't like uncertainty. We now have us talking tariffs again. We were supposed to talk about a look at these tariffs with our allies, Canada and Mexico, that is, on April the 2nd. And it's what, the beginning of March right now. And now we're imposing tariffs again. So the markets don't like this. And I think this is just a snapshot of the volatility with the administration that we're in right now and how it can really impact us in the crypto market and overall just the entire global financial market.
Yeah, you said it. Everyone was trying to make sense of what happened, and I think doesn't matter what happened, but I think look, moving forward, we could kind of have a better expectation. Is what I'm kind of concluding right now, meaning that Elon Musk is a great example. he always tells people, "Oh, we're gonna deliver this many Teslas, blah blah blah," and he's kind of tried wolf so many times. People call him out on it, and it doesn't really move the Tesla price as much as it used to. What happened with Trump was that it was posted on Truth Social, didn't really go through the Senate, and it pumped the God candle, right? But people are kind of getting attuned to Trump's shenanigans, as I like to call them. Whatever he says is, we don't know what he means behind it. Similarly with tariffs, like what he says might not mean what his intentions are behind, whether it's like, trade bargaining chips or, something, outside he has a hidden agenda of. So, people are tempering their expectations, I believe, alongside all the macros, which is inflation and all that stuff. Canada coming out with the reciprocal tariffs like the next day, right? Everyone's coming at us. World War III and that may be happening. So looking forward, what I'm saying is that even if a Bitcoin reserve gets approved, I don't think people is going to be like running for the hills to empty their the nest egg to put into that anymore. I think it's going to be more tempered, in my opinion. So is I believe coming out of this, how's this year going to look? Just roller coaster, man. Just whatever Trump says, people is going to be like, oh, okay, maybe we just hold our horses a little bit versus, like so much bullishness that came out. And you wrote a post on it best, like, taking these fundamentals to obscene kind of projections versus what they really are. Just that, just projections, things that hasn't happened yet. He just took office, let these things roll out. More, I want to say concerning, but I think more of the concern is on America's economics. That's what everyone's indicating. Like if America's economics points to the upside, then crypto will follow. But until that happens, unfortunately, it's kind of riding the same wave. We would like for Bitcoin to be a hedge against inflation, but doesn't seem to be happening right now. And so that's kind of like my 2 cents.
No, that's great insight, Joe, and always appreciate you calling that out. It feels like the best trade of this cycle right now is just to hammer the dips and major red days because I'm in this for the long run, you're in this for the long run, and I think a lot of our listeners are, a lot of the people in our private community are as well. And we're not, this isn't the first time that we've seen major corrections and major dips. As long as fundamentally everything in the crypto market is still intact, that people are still building on these major blockchains, I mean, we have Bitcoin ETFs, we have Ethereum ETFs, we're going to get additional altcoin ETFs, and we're seeing the second worst crypto crash ever. And that's whenever FTX literally was one of the biggest scandals of all time. It just does not make a ton of sense to me. And I do believe probably the best trade in history right now is to just hammer these major red days. Sure, you might not catch the bottom every time, and that's okay. It's impossible to sell buy the bottom, and it's impossible to sell the top. But when you see these major corrections because of tariff news, because of possible World War III. We got Europe coming out and saying that they're rearming and everybody's super concerned. And I don't blame them. There's a lot of reasons to be concerned out there. Fundamentally in the crypto market, there's still people building out there. Developers are still engaged. We have one of the most pro crypto administrations ever. We're trying to bring more Web3 companies to the United States. There's just so many reasons to be bullish, but the price doesn't reflect that. But you do not want to miss the up days. We say that all the time, but I understand anybody out there that, especially if this is your first or second cycle and you're buying crypto. I have friends that have onboarded this cycle who have been talking forever, and they're chirping me. Not gonna lie, they're chirping me. It kind of annoys me a little bit, but I get where they're coming from. They're like, "Oh, great, my portfolio is down 40%." And it's tough for me to tell them to deploy more capital because I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice, and I tell them that very clearly as well. But if they see the path for the next few years, there's really not a lot to shake me out of this. And this is going to be a trickle down effect for all markets involved. I think the stock markets could take a hit, but Bitcoin is anti-inflation at the end of the day. It's a hedge against the dollar. It's not acting that way, but I do believe that the dust is going to settle and things are going to come to the right area where they should be. But it's a tough time. It's a tough time, especially for anybody that's not like used to this market. We've all bought the top this market. I know I have. I've hammered Bitcoin at $100,000. I was like, we're going to $200,000 because become so euphoric about what's happening, become so engulfed with this pro crypto administration. So when we peel back 25%, which is so typical in the crypto market, it makes you feel a little uneasy. So really, long story short, I feel like one of the best trades right now is just to really buy the major red days. Even if that's not the bottom, I do believe a bounce back will happen eventually. When? Not really sure.
Yeah, maybe Friday. The rumors have it that there's no capital gains on cryptos will be announced on Friday. Another thing that I learned is that I don't think crime's legal, but crime's happening. There's definitely insider trading, whether it be do World Fight Liberty from Trump's son's companies or insiders at arm's reach from them that's making a lot. They obviously knew what was happening because they bought the longs and the shorts immediately, or either that or they had like huge insider information somehow. But very interesting. I wouldn't say interesting. Like it's come to light that manipulation is rampant for both meme coins and these altcoins.
Yeah, this is exactly what Joe's talking about. A whale who took 50x leverage is now sitting on unrealized profit of about $81 million. And I remember whenever that popped up, a lot of people in my group chats were sharing that because there was no sign of relief. We were bleeding like we were today. And some absolute whale brings in, it wasn't just Ethereum, it was Bitcoin as well, hundreds of millions of dollars to the table and 50x leverage. And everyone's like, either this guy's got balls the size of freaking the Grand Canyon or he knows something. Well, shortly thereafter on Sunday, Trump makes the announcement of the strategic reserve and he makes, $81 million or more. So crime is still rampant. Hey, I don't know what to say. It's all over the place. Crime is rampant still in the stock market. There's a reason why Nancy Pelosi and Congress make millions and millions of dollars on the stock exchange because they're signing deals and then they're going to buy, Paul Pelosi's going to buy the stock. So he's the greatest stock trader of all time. Insider trading is a real thing in all markets. And I don't know, I don't have a solution for that. But what I'm here for is, the up days, and I hope this guy longs another 50x before Friday because if he does, that means we're gonna get some even more bullish news.
Yeah, I'm with you. I can't wait for Friday and this weekend for some more things to happen.
Yeah, and just to kind of wrap up the macro news, I'm gonna kick it over to Joe to talk a little bit about good old meme coins, which during this relief actually, and we'll talk about it, Fartcoin and some of the top meme coins actually saw some nice pumps, hundreds of millions of dollars injected into it to be lost in one day. And we had about 350 million or billion. What is that? I'm losing how many zeros are there in 24 hours in the market, just to kind of show you exactly when we say this is the uh second worst day in crypto history. You can see the total market cap experienced its second worst decrease ever in just one day after its best increase ever. So you can see how volatile these markets are. I do always say that you don't want to miss the up days, but man, are the down days gross. And today's one of them. I'm still an absolute bull. Can't shake me out yet, everybody. I'm going to be here for a long time. Not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. But the fear and greed meter is down, I think, into the teens again. I'm not even going to share the chart because it's in the 20s on the chart here. I think last time I checked, it was at like 15. So people are freaking out. And when that happens, it usually means to buy, but it's tough, Joe. It's tough to buy when the entire timeline's bearish, but that's usually the best time to make a move.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely stick to, I would say, a consistent plan for those who are coming in during this time. Don't go and chasing like, oh, it's a 20% dip on a buy in here. Definitely have a plan of, a majority of your portfolio and your budget on a monthly basis because like we said, it's gonna be a roller coaster year. And while you can't catch everything every day, if you consistently dollar cost average throughout the year, typically, you will, do better than the rest of the people is definitely my own experience. And I'm kind of excited because of that understanding entering into this cycle. I think whoever understands that will come out on the other side, definitely better than the average person who's just sitting on the side not doing anything. Because it's kind of scary to do some buying right now, right? But definitely, if you miss these times, you're going to be kicking yourself for sure. So definitely have a strategy. And if you don't know, then just talk to us and we'll help you out here a little bit. But yeah, let's talk some meme coins, right? So what's going on in the world of memes? There's been a little bit of development in the world of Bitcoin memes, and I'm just going to share a little bit of what's happening. There's some dexes that are finally coming to life. One called Odin.Fund that's sent, tens of millions of dollars. Hopefully, the thought here is that it will send runes to billions of dollars. I think this is an L2 on layer two of Bitcoin, and they still haven't brought in the majors yet. So they're kind of testing it out with some minor funds. So another thought that I have just looking into, the site and checking out what they have to offer is just having more DeFi mechanics. DeFi, hate to say this, but Ponzinomics for Bitcoin will kind of bring more light into the meme coin world. And that doesn't typically happen on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's right, the tried and true, hold it and go to the moon, Michael Saylor, 40% a year type of thing. For DeFi mechanisms, people usually go elsewhere. So I do see that if there are some, I wouldn't say L2s, but incentives, you know what I'm talking about, incentives to farm, to yield, to do all these things on Bitcoin, then that would bring more degenerates, I would like to say, onto the Bitcoin network. Until then, you just have a lot of diehard Bitcoin, I wouldn't say maximalists, but like hobbyists or what you want to call, like people who are invested in Bitcoin, truly love the art, to have, love for the Bitcoin ordinals, which is art on Bitcoin, and then the meme coins is kind of where I'm sitting, meaning that I don't see a lot of people risking, their liquidity on Bitcoin. But it's good to see what they're doing. But I'm just providing my 2 cents that it might die. It might not survive this cycle of Bitcoin meme coins, because it's kind of buoyed by just one of the major, not even buoyed. There's not much volume on there. But it doesn't mean that it won't be. It doesn't mean there won't be innovation. Ordinal surprise everyone, which is NFTs on Bitcoin. I would not be surprised if Runes came out, which is a meme coins and Bitcoin, came out on the other end of this. But right now it's tough to see that, right? Because we're at a downtime overall macro wise. So that's what's happening over there. Before I continue on, is there any thoughts on Bitcoin meme coins on your end, Brian?
Man, I'm like, I still have all my Bitcoin meme coins. I have the entire bag. And it's tough for me to sell it for some reason because I'm so because we've talked about it about a year ago, whenever everybody was super bullish on runes, and I was just so excited for that entire ecosystem. There's so much wealth in that ecosystem. The user interface sucks, and I'm on record a million times talking about that, just how
Yeah.
it's so difficult to trade. And I've been so hopeful that once we get liquidity pools, we have instant trading, that we are going to see a push. Now, I wish something like Odin.Fun was launching in much better market conditions. It couldn't be launching in worse market conditions than we are right now. I'm going to personally ride it out with my own personal bags. Might not be a good plan there just because I'm vested in it and I really want it to succeed. And it reminds me kind of like when Ordinals first launched, there was initial hype, then they died for like a year and a half, and then they popped off again. I don't know. We only need one or two big catalysts to absolutely send us to the moon. But yeah, I don't really have a good feel for it. I did not make the right decision with my Bitcoin meme coin bags, but right now I almost feel like I'm too far invested and I just need it to turn around. And first step is with what Odin.Fund's doing right now. Liquidity pools, instant trading, and hopefully get some attention back in that market.
Yep, 100% agree with you there. There is some interesting bullish news on meme coins, slightly, and as much as can be in these times, is that there was some questions about Pranksy about, oh, about NFTs and the abstract ecosystem. I'm not going to go over it, but really what I want to get into is just what Luca's response was. Luca said the Penguin ecosystem will eat at TGE. For those that don't know what TGE is token generation event. Basically, this is the first time I've seen confirmation that there will be a token for abstract. Like this, I've never heard of Luca and or any party saying that there will be an abstract token. Kind of similar to how base, there's no base token, right? Base just is L2 on Ethereum. Abstract is the L2 on Ethereum also. But this is a confirmation, and it provided a nice little bump to the Pengu token at that time. But good to know that if you are a NFT holder of Pudgy Penguins and or its meme token, Pengu, then there will be considerable rewards for the airdrop or if you want to yield or farm Abstract. We teach people how to do that with our community. Really simple, actually a little bit of fun also. So that's some good news in terms of how the meme coins Pengu would do because that's going to feed into the entire ecosystem.
Yeah, I like that ecosystem. I've been on Abstract. I do it daily. I'm an On-Chain Heroes fan, so I what pranks he was calling there with OCH, he's talking about On-Chain Heroes, and I yielded a ton of XP because I'm playing that game, for 5, 10 minutes every single day and leveling up my hero, and I'm getting rewarded in XP. Joe, are we buying penguins? Is that like I saw Luca? I talked about it on our market update. He was talking about how he's going to have he's working on an NFT strategic reserve. If there's going to be a strategic reserve, Van Eck literally has a penguin as our PFP. You would
Mhm.
have to think Pudgy Penguins is going to be in that strategic reserve. Are we buying penguins? Is that happening this year?
The good thing is that you can get exposure through the meme coin. So there depends. I would definitely wait, right? Because with this TGE that's confirmed, what typically happens is what, Brian? When a token gets farmed or bought because of an airdrop, the NFT typically drops in value. 90% of the time. I believe that might happen again. I mean, I don't know how much lower it can get, but I have a group text of my Pudgy friends actually who sold his Pudgy at the top. And I'm like, would you buy back in at this price point? And he goes, hell yeah, I would. I'm like, okay, so if you buy in at that price point, I'll buy in at that price point. It's not there yet, but definitely you can get exposure to the Pengu, which is something I have, and it gives you a different at different levels of benefit. So that's the great thing about meme coins is that if you cannot afford a $20,000 Pudgy Penguin, you can spend how much is it right now? It's only at like 7 cents. You can spend like 5, 6 thousand to get like I wouldn't say 100% of the benefits that the Pudgies get you on the abstract ecosystem, but very, very close. So you could spend like a fourth of the price because it's very apparent. If you want to go to the abstract website really quickly, it'll show you. You just click on it and it'll show you with a Pudgy, here's how much bonus you would get as a multiplier. And then if you are not a Pudgy holder, here's how much you'll get as a multiplier. And that's a good way to have utility for meme coins. And this is something that we always wanted in terms of utility for NFTs and memes, but Pudgy's the only one that's been able to pull it off so far.
Which one? Can you see my screen, Joe? Can you see it clearly, or is it super small for you? Which Pudgy on here do you
I
like?
can see which Pudgy do I like?
Yeah.
Man, the lowest price one.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a floor monster myself. Like I buy floors if I'm gonna buy a floor. Kind of like this guy, this like little Top Gun Maverick looking guy with a little vest and sunglasses. But I'll tell you what, I've dropped the ball with Pudgy Penguins for so many years. I used to talk with this team on a consistent basis at DraftKings. This is when they were only a couple, they weren't even like an ETH at the time. And I showed it to my wife, one of the very first NFTs that I showed her, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, those are cute." And like, I never pulled the trigger. And they've obviously rocketed up, several times to like 30 Ethereum. But right now they're sitting at 9.3 ETH. And I mean, ETH is going to be triple digits by the end of the day if we're on the pace we're moving. So these things feel freaking free. I uh I like these pudgies, Joe. We need to keep our eyes personally, not financial advice out here. We need to keep our eyes on these for a little while because if I buy a pudgy penguin, I'm never selling it. I'm going to hold that forever. So there's some really cool ones in this collection, and hats off to Luca and team. I really love what they're doing with Abstract and what you noted there, and I think it's even cooler that they're talking about possibly doing an NFT strategic reserve. I mean, if that actually comes to fruition, punks are going to be in there. What else is going to be in there? Punks, uh, pudgies. What else do you think hits in
Apes, apes.
apes? Apes, probably autoglyphs or for by
Yeah,
Lava
Chromie
Labs.
Squiggles. Yeah.
Probably Chromie Squiggles. Yeah, some
Grifters,
X.
maybe hopefully grifters. Yeah.
I'm a grifter holder. Some X.
Banksies,
Yeah,
Banksies and Beeples.
some
Yeah.
Beeples in there. There, you could build a pretty good one that would feel somewhat safe-ish at the end of the day. They'd probably have some art NFTs, some really high-end communities. I don't know. Always fun to talk about. We're gonna if you buy a penguin or if I buy a penguin, we gotta do it live on the rundown. Can I get a commitment there?
Yeah, for sure. We'll talk about more about NFTs later. That's where the news is actually. But let's get into
Oh,
some AI stuff.
oh, dude, I thought we were in the NFT section anyways. I kind of jumped the gun a little bit there, a little preview for everyone. Let's talk about the AI stuff. So, taking a look at the market cap, we're getting smacked around a little bit. We're down 13% on the day. We obviously saw a push upwards. Some of the biggest winners really with this Trump news, and this is a good way to keep an eye on maybe some projects we want to dollar cost average in on, were like the fart coins and the ARKs of the world. AI16Z, ARK, and Fartcoin, these three right here were big winners with that strategic reserve announcement. So we saw a lot of people flow in. I know Farcoin got up all the way up to $350 million market cap. ARK pushed a very high market cap, but they're all now down like on an average of 20%. So you can see with any bearish news, it corrects right back down to where it is. Kind of makes me feel like it could be a buying range if somebody wants to get exposure to some of these coins. But Virtuals is making news every single day. I hear Virtuals making news here and there, integrating with people, and it's down 15% on the days. So there's really nowhere safe right now to store our money. Taking a look at some of the mind share though, but Henlo here with some recent announcements is up 15%. Cerebro is this dark green, it's up 3%. Banker, a previous cuss call of ours, is up 2.5%. But really, still not a lot of relief. We're sitting at a $5.2 billion market cap. I still believe in this sector, Joe. I still see a path. I was at ETH Denver. You and I briefly talked about it the other day. And one of the biggest takeaways is that they didn't talk a lot about ETH at ETH Denver. And I mean, of course they did. There was a lot of people building, but they were talking a lot about chains. And AI integration was talked about at every single booth. Everybody was talking about AI collaboration, AI integration. So that mind share at an event like that felt like it was an all-time high, but across crypto Twitter, across retail, it's a low right now, as we can see on Cookie.fun. So it does make me feel like there's a buying opportunity in a lot of these AI crypto projects, but I'm not sure if we found a bottom yet. I'm really not. We need Bitcoin and Solana in these majors to show some sort of relief before I'm diving and putting more capital into a lot of these meme coins and AI projects. Kind of what's your thesis there?
Yeah, I have a this consistent thesis on this is that for sure every project or meme or crypto or NFT will implement AI, and whether it's good or not, the loudest noise there will get the most liquidity, I would say, in terms of people being degenerate on it. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like an amazing use case. It's kind of like, whoever launched an NFT in 2021, you just bought it, like, oh, Coca-Cola, McDonald's launched a McRib NFT. Oh, let me just buy it. Similarly, I see that trajectory for AI agents, meaning the AI agents we have now is just great like test studies, but like implementation with let's say like a Yuga Labs or even like a Luca, right? Like an AI agent there, people is going to see that as more bullish, just more utility, they're more progressive. And we don't have that right now. We just have a bunch of AI agents running around. So they're probably getting there soon. We already see AI agents within Discourse helping facilitate conversations. But once, Coinbase launched their tester of helping with transactions, once we see more and more of that happening, I believe those type of AI agents that may or may not have tokens or their parent company or project have a token, those will run. So those kind of like, I would group them in like the AI agent category. That's kind of where my bets will be. So have I seen that yet? Not necessarily, but that's all coming. It's going to come faster than we all imagine. Those will not be affected as much by, I would say, tariffs or economic scares. Those are just more progressive technology that we can't really stop at all. Like technology getting better and better is not going to stop at all. So that's going to be exciting. And just kind of finding that at the right time is going to be, what I'm going to be placing my bets on.
Yeah, great insight there. And I'm with you there with the AI agents. I've always been like hot and cold with the agents. When they're running and everybody's talking about AI 16, AI XBT and Cerebro and Graphene and all of these AI agents and what they're building, they seem to run up hard, but does feel like a game of hot potato. Like what agents got the mind share right now? What are they announcing? I do still, if I was going to continue to invest in the AI space, which I am, so no, no, I am. I'm a fan of it. I still like that infrastructure play, kind of the platforms where these agents are being built because they have teams of 20 to 50 different developers. They're having partnerships signed, and it feels like they're getting a head start. But when we have down markets, they're getting hit harder than ever because people are rotating out of very speculative assets into stable coins, into Bitcoin, and that what lags are some of these AI plays. But I don't think this meta is going anywhere. I don't think this information or people are going to stop building utilizing AI anytime soon. But would like to see the price go up eventually here because I definitely have a sizable position in my portfolio in a lot of these bags, and I like to see the price go up. Who doesn't?
Yeah, definitely. I would let people know to have some exposure in the AI market. And Cookie That Fun will give you kind of like the latest, but definitely I'll be making some bigger bets, as it plays out. So nothing crazy yet, but I like the platform plays like you're saying, like hey, Anon, who can trade on your behalf and help you, to stake, yield, farm. I love those things that can help you gain something without much effort. So definitely looking forward to what's going to develop there.
I know you're going to NFT. Let me ask you a question here. You're a fan of Grok, right? Grok 3.
Yeah, yeah, I love Grok.
Let's say Grok releases a token. Are you just all over that token?
Yeah, I would like some exposure in the Grok world. I mean, not Tesla, Elon definitely owns Tesla and Grok and X, and he's made a sizable investment into AI. He's built I think they went to Mississippi or somewhere to implement the new NVIDIA AI chips there for just specifically for Grok. And so Grok has caught up to Google in terms of, I guess, compute and all the analytics that you want to talk about in a relatively short amount of time. So they haven't surpassed them. They just caught up. And people never thought that was possible. Like, oh, you can catch up in Google in like 3 months. But that's exactly what Tesla did because he has such strength and resources. Like his engineers are compatible between Starlink, Tesla, Grok, like and everything. It's pretty crazy. So that's kind of like the inklings around Silicon Valley of how powerful, or how he is in terms of utilizing resources to power things like Grok. So is Grok going to be the winner? I don't know, but I'm definitely uh, because Grok taps into X and no one else can touch X. No, you can't get AI information, the data on X, unless you're Grok. So Grok can get all the outside information and X information, which is, pretty unique, right? You could get, inside information really, really quickly. And then Google has that with YouTube. It's a very interesting information data war. I want to get some Google I don't think they have a token, but if Grok implements like Divine token, I don't know what's happening, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, it's just amazing. I've been using Grok more and more for research and just inquiring, asking questions, and it's amazing. The integration with Twitter is elite, in my opinion, because you can get a very good idea of like what people are talking about, what the sentiment is. I really, really enjoy it. And I feel like couple months ago, Grok wasn't even on my radar ever. Everyone was talking ChatGPT, Gemini here and there, but ChatGPT. Now I don't even go to ChatGPT anymore. I go to Grok because I'm in Gemini, but I go to Grok whenever I'm looking for some sort of information, and it comes up with some elite information. And that's just to show everybody like how fast this space can move so quickly. It's changing the game for people and people outside of our world because Grok isn't really like Web 3. I mean, it's integrated with Twitter. Anybody can use it, but people that I used to work with, I've like mentioned Grok and ChatGPT to them, and they're like, wait a minute, like, what's it do? And like, I show them, and they can't even believe, they feel like I'm playing a magic trick. I'm like, no, it's like just like a supercomputer compiling all this information very quickly and putting it in a very digestible format. I don't know. I love it. I really enjoy it. Grok feels like the winner right now in my eyes, but it could also be the MySpace star Facebook.
Yeah. Just a last note on that. Google, I'm sorry, it's called Gemini, which is confusing with the brokerage Gemini, right? Gemini owned by
Totally.
Google. Yeah. Gemini does not dissect YouTube videos, in my opinion, as well as Grok dissects and integrates X information. I've used both. I'm like, hey, break down his YouTube video. And I pay for Gemini. I pay monthly. And it's just like not as good. Exactly what you said. It's not as good as Grok breaking down Twitter. And kind of that's where all the media is, even faster than YouTube is X. So I'm definitely bullish on that. Cool. So let's talk about, some it's funny. NFTs weren't exciting, but they're exciting to me and it's kind of where the excitement is now. Right now, there are a lot of, lawsuits are being dropped by exchanges, by SEC, and the latest domino to fall is Yuga Labs is no longer going to be, they're not going to have any charges by the SEC, which is great news for NFTs across the board. And with that, well, Yuga Labs owns CryptoPunks, and notably, there was a $2 million punk that was just bought, what, March 1st, 2 days ago. So right before, the markets crashed. But still, this is a really big purchase. And punks seem to be holding strong in terms of their value even during these times. So definitely great to see some exciting things happening there. Brian, you caught this out. Hypers is, seeing a lot of liquidity. Where crime is happening in hypers and in terms of perps trading, they're also launching NFTs, and that's where the attention is, and that's where the money's flowing. As we see this in terms of NFTs, when people get a little frothy, they make a little bit of money, they roll it over into things that they think are fun. How much is 12 hypers right now? How much is that for this NFT?
Oh man, I think hype is like getting hammered right now, to be honest with you. It was about 240 bucks this weekend, but 12, I think it's what, 15 or $16. Like it's about $200. Honestly, feels kind of free. I like those. I like the art on hypers. They look like they're not the best in my opinion. I like the pixelated art, but they look very similar to a lot of NFTs that have launched in the back in the day. But I believe I read somewhere, and somebody needs to fact check me on this, that they are going to be the official NFT of Drip Trade, which is the Hyperliquid's NFT platform there. There's that, and there's going to be some integration there with hypers. But the mint was only two, or if you're on the white list, I was not, or 2.5 hyper the day of the mint, which was last Friday, I believe. So you can see that they've like 6 to 8x over that time period. So a huge win for anybody that was able to push a transaction through. I failed miserably, but it's starting to get to the range. Hype's going down enough, and those prices, they just had a reveal yesterday. So after an NFT reveal, the price goes down. Starting to get to that range where I'm like 200 bucks. I might gamble on one of these NFTs because it's like one of the first NFTs, if not the first NFT connected to the Hyper EVM, connected with Drip Trade. So there's a world there where I think they could become a decent buy here in the near future. But anybody that minted it definitely sitting on a 6 to 8x.
Nice. That's good to see. And NFTs personally definitely need innovation for, any just attention in terms of volume, because the Web3 degens are definitely not gambling on those anymore. But one project that is doing innovation still is Pudgy Penguins. We mentioned we would go back to them, and here's another reason for you to buy a Pudgy, Brian. They're gonna launch a series in collaboration with the Soul Publishing, it's a Korean publishing company, and they'll be doing following these four characters inside of an iceberg. That sounds pretty cool to me. So they just keep on pushing. They keep on pushing the innovation forward, and those are the things that get people to buy into a project. So NFT wise, in terms of upside, there's definitely still winners to be had. Like whoever minted a hyper one, you caught out on-chain heroes, which did like a 5 to 6x, which you caught it. But definitely, this is where the prices should be in terms of NFTs, whether it be on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and or any other blockchain is until the attention is back. I wouldn't even say from the Web3 world, but the regular Web2 folks who want to come in and enjoy digital assets, then we're not going to see the whole asset class move up. We're seeing art kind of make a comeback a little bit, but where people can enjoy and utilize them is where the value is going to be. And that's why I wanted to showcase, what's still kind of happening in the Top Shot world, believe it or not. It's still people are still spending money here. $8,000 on a Caitlin Clark. That's a pretty decent chunk of change for an NFT, just a single NFT. That whole specific Caitlin Clark collection itself is probably valued, who knows, a lot of money. But that's kind of where I'm spending my money in terms of NFTs. I sent you two NBA Top Shop links the other day, Brian. I'm like, I want to buy these two Steph Curry jersey moments because I feel like they're undervalued. It's like 400 bucks a pop. But in the regular traditional cardboard world, how much would people pay for that, you know? And you don't have to send it in for PSA grading. You don't have to worry about it getting lost in the mail. You know, you don't have to do a ton of stuff. And there's 24/7 open marketplace. So definitely there's still a place for that. We're just really far ahead of the curve in terms of adoption. So until that kind of comes back, then the wider market is not going to follow. But it doesn't mean that people are not still utilizing it for, you know, its advantages and utility. Kind of what we said for like the longest time, you know, like here's a great example. Snoop Dogg, he's ditching Spotify for Web3 because there's actual use case. A platform called Tune.fm, which is a Web3 platform. And the reason why is because he got 1 billion streams on Spotify. I mean, you're talking about Snoop Dogg. He's anywhere from the Olympics all the way to Martha Stewart vineyard selling wine. And you have to be the best of the best to get 1 billion streams. And he only made 45,000. I mean, that's really sad, right? That's really, really sad. So he's going to Tune.fm because that kind of gives you direct access to your fans and the money goes straight to the artist versus getting filtered through just a ton of different avenues. So it's good to see that there's still adoption of this technology as we knew there would be. It's just going to take time and to see where those categories will benefit the users most, and that's where it's going to build until eventually everything is in the form of a digital asset. But just like Bitcoin in 2009, right? We're 16 years later, and we're kind of still just getting there.
I love that Snoop Dogg news. He's been involved with like NFTs and crypto and Web3 for a while now. He's one, and he doesn't feel like he's flaked on us like a lot of the other celebrities out there. But you and I are both this way. Like, empower creators, pay them. Like, screw these third-party people that are making mints off of people left and right, the art galleries of the world. And I mean, they all have their place to help get like up and comers their word out, but it feels like price gouging at the end of the day. And I think Snoop Dogg's doing a great thing out there with that team, with that news. It's super exciting, and it kind of that's like a feel good story in Web3. You know, empower creators, get the money to the people that actually put smile on people's faces. That we're singing their lyrics, we're singing those songs every single day, and like even like Swifties out there, Taylor Swift. Everybody knows if you're a Taylor Swift fan, like the BS that she went through with the rights of her music and having to remake the music and all of that. It's just silly. Like at the end of the day, the person who creates the music, creates, the happiness for people should be rewarded to the maximum of that profit potential. So I'm happy for Snoop Dogg. It's a great news in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm happy to see, you know, I mean, this is just one example. There's still so much integration happening. It's just not led by the headlining news of people making millions of dollars because, you know, whatever can get the most attention is what's, you know, headlining that. Not like, oh, you know, there's better efficiency for companies or, you know, Snoop making a little bit more money. The average person wants to know how they can make a lot of money. And that's not going to come anytime soon, in my opinion. It's going to come incrementally. Like people are like, oh, you know, I bought a Steph. This guy bought a Steph for 400 bucks and now it's worth 4,000. Woo! You know, but are people gonna, you know, flood the market with millions of dollars hearing that news? Probably not right now. But you know what? You'll be my exit liquidity. That's all I gotta say.
I love it. I love it. Anything else on the sheet here, Joe? I lost my sheet somewhere on me, but do we have
Yeah, no,
anything else?
that's all. We're just sitting tight until we hear some more big, interesting news come out of this Friday's crypto ball from the White House. But yeah, if you guys want to hear exciting projects, tune into our podcast. We got the weekly rundowns and our market updates. And if you want more further insight, dive into our private community. We're posting on there all the time. And if we're not making the moves, trust me, guys, no one making the moves because we know where the moves are being made and we're tapped into that. So yeah, excited for anyone to just follow along. But definitely, we'll see you guys next week.
Yep. Appreciate it. Later, boys and girls and audience.